Knapp's relationship model. Mark Knapp was a well-known professor at the University of Texas. He was known for his works in nonverbal communication research. He developed a theory for relational enhancement, which lays out the development between two people within a relationship. This model explains the ebbs and flows of how relationships can grow and last, or eventually end. This model demonstrates how the relationship progresses and deteriorates. Steps can be consecutive, or these steps can jump around and change. So his escalation model starts with initiating, then experimenting, intensifying, integrating, and bonding. The first step is initiating. Initiation is the initial impressions about one another. It includes your physical appearance. That plays a great role in it. How you're dressing, how you may smell, your favorable impressions. So if a boy finds a girl attractive, he'll approach her and ask her questions and maybe want to get to know her a little bit more, initiating that first step within their relationship. The second step is experimenting. This stage is all about getting to know and explore one another. It's the probing stage. Each person will analyze the other for information or common interests, and most of the relationships will wind up here due to different levels of interest. So finding commonalities within one another, making sure that you're understanding one another and where you're coming from. Step 3 is intensifying. Intensifying the relationship becomes less formal. People start revealing more personal information about one another. You're analyzing the impressions of one another and finding ways to strengthen interpersonal development through maybe gifts or quality time, planning dates. But at this stage, you're expecting some kind of commitment with one another. If a boy goes out with a girl, maybe they'll talk about deeper life experiences and maybe family life and things that are important to them. Step 4 is integrating. Integrating is making the relationship much closer than before. So maybe you're establishing that you're boyfriend and girlfriend. Maybe you're taking the next step physically, just determining that your relationship is a deeper connection, having those deeper secrets, and maybe saying you're best friends. Bonding is announcing to the world about your relationship. You're recognizing the honor in the commitment, maybe legally or not legally, but just within your relationship. At this point, the relationship is indefinite and only to be broken through a formal notice, agreement, or sadly, death. So then his termination model is differentiation, circumscribing, stagnating, avoiding, and then terminating. So the first step is differentiating. So the external pressures will start making you think individually rather than with your partner. You're going to develop your own hobbies and your own endeavors, and then the relationship will begin to fade and the everlasting bond will begin to be broken. You're going to feel that disliking or often expressed by partners in their commitment. So if Joe is going to move to Washington and Joe and I are in a relationship and I don't want to move to Washington, that's going to be the first external pressure that we're not going to talk about, maybe avoiding that, and then that's going to start to break down our foundation together. Step 2 is circumscribing. So you're limiting conversations at this point. You're going to set up boundaries and walls within your communication. You're going to fear some arguments in your own personal space and activities. You're going to want some more individuality. So with this step, essentially, if I am still mad at Joe, I don't want to talk to him about it. I'm angry with him about wanting to move to Washington. Maybe I'll go grab drinks with my girlfriends. Stagnation is the relationship will decline even more. Once reaching this stage, the communication will be more limited, and the only reason partners won't separate is due to children or other unavoidable reasons. So once at this stage, relationships generally will not continue or improve. So if Joe and I have a dog together and we don't want to give up custody, then we will stagnate. Step 4 is avoiding. At this stage, partners will intentionally avoid contact, or they will physically be detached from one another. They will restrict themselves from any communication to avoid conversation or an argument. So I'm going to avoid Joe at all costs. Just maybe I'll move out of our apartment together. I don't want to talk to him. And then finally, step 5 is terminating. So the final stage of coming apart, you're completely terminating the relationship. Joe and I are no longer together. It doesn't have to be divorce. It can also be a friendship that ends if a roommate moves out or a conflict happens or there's a falling out between the two of you. But things to remember are that these are very fluid steps. They're not consecutive and they shouldn't be. So if your relationship doesn't look like this, that's totally normal. That is the point of Knapp's relationship model. Thank you.